Back with more Dollhouse. This is episode 4 of season 2. Very excited to carry on, see what's going to happen as we continue on with this season. Last episode was disturbing and awful to watch in kind of the best way, because it was still, they had some very interesting ideas going on, like Dollhouse always does, with like the serial killer guy and everything with that. And we're getting, some slight story advancement with everything. With Echo and Ballard and everything that's going on there, and it seems the serial killer's guy's personality is kind of embedded in Echo now. So if that comes out again, that could be quite something. So I'm really keen to see them explore that a bit more and see exactly where they're headed with this season's plotline. So let's get into the next one.
I was just trying to help her. Thanks for covering, Priya.
Oh, I sold a necklace for you. Talkative young man bought one. Did you have something specific you would want?
Yes, you. Turk.
Smooth.
Do your thing.
It's the least Rossum could do after all of your work with us, but...
Rossum.
Just let them think they have the power. Our time will come.
Sorry, darling.
Our day will come. Oh.
Priya, this is Luca Palidio.
Mr. Harding? Always a pleasure.
Most people who are
Harding, eh?
good looking as no one.
The painting's yours. My job here is done. I'm going now.
Why?
No, Lynn.
So you can get up to some guy.
Nothing in this world could ever make me love you.
Unless you become a doll. Oh no. You bloody creep. And I don't know why he reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog. Why? Do you have a shrine? You sound like the kind of guy who'd have a shrine.
I don't like this color, though.
What do you use it?
It's always here.
Cheery.
You're not looking hard enough. You never do.
Ooh.
What's the word on this repeat clients here has been seen?
What?
Something's bothering me about it.
Oh, I like that he's like having an investigation.
Is this wrong?
No, it's good. You're taking charge. You're taking matters into your own hands.
They're in my shirt.
Victor is so precious.
Neuroleptics are antipsychotics, right? Like haloperidol or...
I am here for Topher and Boyd working together on
Most
this.
of them block normal, boring brain, like your brain. This is a brain on drugs. Increased conduction of chloride ions. They're at odds.
You lost me at brain.
Priya wasn't psychotic
Same.
despite her heavy medication. She was psychotic because of it.
How did this get by DeWitt?
We gotta tell her. She's gonna flip her biscuits. Unless... You don't think she already knows?
She does now.
Oh,
Thank you so much for coming in, Dr. Kennard.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to schedule another appointment anyway.
tear him to
Yeah, it
shreds.
seems the...
Given that you're a raping scumbag, one tick shy of a murderer, I can't recall. Do you take sugar?
Oh,
You're gonna imprint her, and you're gonna send her to me. Forever.
Excuse me?
bitch,
You do
please.
business today.
In my house, and therefore in my care.
Yes, and you would never let anyone take advantage of any of your charges, would you? Miss...
Oh, oh dear.
That's
That
your
is the
business.
thing. You're like, oh yeah, stick it to the rapist, and then even what they're doing is like,
And you will run it the
wrong
way we tell you
too.
to. You wouldn't like the early retirement plan.
oh, you're a slime
Imprint
ball
the
as
girl,
well.
Send her to him.
Just draws a dick on him. Oh yeah.
I don't want to take charge.
Oh god.
Dr. Saunders would never have allowed...
Which Dr. Saunders would that be? The avuncular physician?
I like how they are kind of
Reality?
giving Topher like more of a moral compass.
You, Topher, were chosen because you had no morals.
Hmm.
You have always thought of people as playthings.
Now you do.
No,
Oh,
no. Victor.
they're in love.
Come with you.
I'll wait for you right here.
Oh god, he's like the dog in that episode of Futurama.
So she can remember.
The order is to keep the dolls in that place.
Ooh. She like messed with her and made her out to be crazy so that they'd make her a doll. So that he can sleep with her. Yeah.
Street, what is this?
Well, this is dark.
Do you know where you are?
I'm in hell.
You're in Los Angeles.
Oh.
I'm a prisoner. I'm a prisoner. Not for long.
You'll be a different kind of prisoner now. Do you want shit life A or shit life B? Oh, you're still waiting. Oh. Protect. Protect.
You have no choice.
Oh, trying to comfort him. It's the start of what we see with them in the future.
No, I didn't.
Uh-oh. So she actually just Priya.
Which is it, Nolan? Which fantasy did you want to keep forever?
Oh, fuck.
Priya.
Yeah.
Just couldn't take no for an answer.
Whew.
When did you learn how to lie?
Am I in trouble?
Not for me.
Something bad is coming. Like a storm. And I want everyone to survive it.
You know, they even programmed me to think it was endearing how quick you were.
You were mine.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Someone I trust. He helps me.
See?
He thrills me.
Yeah, no, see, it worked. You
No.
told me that you loved me 100 times. I changed you.
No, it's not you.
Victor, right?
I managed to fall for someone else. I love him. I love him
Maybe you shouldn't say this in front of him.
so much more than I hate you.
Oh, fuck. Oh dear.
You're gonna fight fair this time?
So much for fair.
So you just want power over him, you disgusting bastard. Oh. Oh, that's a cool shot. Fuck.
We gotta run. We gotta get out of here.
Oh no, who's there? Oh.
In the van outside, you'll find containers of sulfuric acid, a plastic sheet, and a bag of tools.
What? What are you talking about?
Consequences.
Oh, they're getting rid of the body? Breaking Bad style? This is not where I thought this was gonna go. This is why he had blood in him at the start.
I was just trying to help her.
There we go.
You had a moral dilemma. You're first. And it didn't go well.
Priya does not belong in the dollhouse.
I don't think any of them do,
He
really.
does now. But he left without her.
Oh,
We
man.
found his car just south of the border.
I wonder if
Fake
Topher's
identity
guilt about all
club.
this is kind of the start of the downward spiral he goes on.
Maybe I got to say goodbye.
I woke up from a nightmare only to live in one.
Yeah, basically.
You were supposed to help me.
I thought I was.
And are we happy here?
Most of you,
Content.
I have no
Blissfully
idea.
unaware, yeah.
You had a moral dilemma. You're first. And it didn't go well.
I have no idea.
Priya does not belong in the dollhouse.
I have no idea.
Oh, still there.
This secret we have. Can you keep it?
He's one has to live with it now.
I can keep it. But I don't know if I can live with it.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
I don't think he does.
But I don't have to.
Such an interesting way of having like people fall in love. Like, oh, oh boy. Adorable. What a great shot. Who directed this episode? They did a great job. Oh man, that was good shit. That's the stuff. Okay, that was an incredible episode. I loved it. I think that was easily one of my favourites of the show so far. I've been waiting for them to like really do like a big character study and big like main plot advancement, and I feel like this really gave us that, and this felt like a 2 hour long movie in like the best way. Just everything they managed to achieve in a 40-minute episode I think is kind of astonishing. Got some really interesting character moments. Putting the spotlight on Sierra I think was fantastic, because we haven't really gotten that before, I think, with her much. And it sounds mean, but it was just nice to have an episode that wasn't like all about Echo. As great as Eliza is, and as great as Echo is, and as fascinating as Echo is as a character, it was nice that they did focus on Sierra and Victor a bit as well, like more so. And yeah, we had some big moments for Topher as well. And Boyd, Adele. There was just some really, really great stuff here. I think the cast were incredible in this one. I don't know the actor's name who plays Topher, but he was incredible in this episode, as was the actress who plays Sierra. I've seen her in quite a few things, mainly Whedon things. She was in a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in season 2, so I mostly know her from that. But I've definitely seen her in a few other things. And yeah, just everyone brought their A game, I think, in this episode, and such a fascinating kind of exploration of morals and the blurred lines that they live by in the Dollhouse. I do think it's very interesting that probably the person with like the most opinionated, is that a word? Opinionated? I'm going with it. The most opinionated view on the Dollhouse is Ballard, I would say, and it's interesting that he was like the only one, like the major character who wasn't in this episode. I think that was probably maybe a purposeful choice, and I think that's very interesting. Or maybe the actor was sick and I'm talking bullshit. Who knows? But I do think it's kind of interesting to note his absence from an episode really about the morals of the Dollhouse. Because, in season 1 he was so against it and trying to find it and expose it and everything. So I quite like that. It's interesting that you can praise an episode for an absence of a character, but there we are. That's Dollhouse for you. They do some very unconventional things, and even the way they've kind of had like Sierra and Victor kind of fall in love. It's like a very bizarre way of it happening, in the fact that she doesn't even remember falling in love with him when she's like restored to normal, and even when she is like who she used to be, she still loves Victor, even though she doesn't remember ever meeting him and anything. It's just that feeling's there. That kind of shows how true and genuine it is, I guess. That's a fascinating kind of little love story they have with those two, and I need them both to be safe and protected, because Victor is a wholesome cinnamon roll who can do no wrong, and I like that. And they've explored a bit of a connection with those two, obviously in season 1 a lot as well, and earlier in the episode where we kind of saw Sierra before she was Sierra. I think her name was Priya, wasn't it? When she was Priya, she seemed to have like an instant spark with Victor's kind of persona even there, which was fascinating. And it's just a really interesting kind of way they've explored that love story, and I can't wait to see how they kind of continue that further. And Victor just waiting for her all that time, just sat there like, oh. I really like that relationship and that dynamic. I don't think I've quite seen anything done quite like that before, and it's actually working for me, and it's quite effective. And considering there's so many things in the show, like, oh my god, that's so dodgy, that they're doing these with these people, and issues of consent and stuff like that always come up. And somehow that works for me. I think they kind of judged it just right. Maybe it's just because the actors really sell it. I don't know. But I'm really fascinated by that relationship. And I like that they also brought the whole Rossum stuff back into it, with this Nolan guy who was a creep. I've definitely seen the actor in something before. He was very good here. I really loved to hate him. And just how things kind of escalated with him being murdered. And then Topher and Boyd like dissolving him and like cutting him up, and Boyd like calling in his friends to make him disappear and everything. I like that they kind of explored that side to Boyd as well. There's a lot more to him than we know yet. And Topher did kind of seem shocked to see this side of Boyd, and he's like he knew how to handle the situation. And he's very cool under pressure, that guy. So I like seeing a bit more of that, and I've always enjoyed the kind of Boyd and Topher dynamic, the way they just piss each other off. So the fact that that was like a big part of this episode, and they both went to like conduct their own little investigations, and Topher was very much into the whole Sierra thing, and Boyd was helping out when he could, but Boyd also had his own little thing going on when he got suspicious of Echo, and that makes a lot more sense that he'd be drawn to the Echo side of the mystery because of their bond in season 1, and clearly Boyd has, I think, a deep affection for Echo in that sense. I think it's a very kind of fatherly bond he has with her. He's definitely very protective of her. So him like discovering the book and everything, her book, and it's like she's got like names and stuff carved into her little pod, which I thought was very interesting. Was it him who gave the key card to her at the end there, like for the storm? I am assuming it was, because they were talking about the storm. He like wants to help her out, I guess, or something like that, because he wants her to escape or whatever. I didn't know if I don't know if it was like him or Ballard that kind of did that. He like snuck it to her or something. I don't think it was Ballard because he's not in this episode and didn't make a big deal about talking about the storm stuff. So I'm assuming it was Boyd who gave her that. So I'm excited to see how that's going to continue, and if Boyd could kind of join that little team that Ballard and Echo kind of have going on right now, like an inside kind of thing. But we did get a few moments with Echo in this one where she was influencing all the other dolls. Like Victor trying to get him to, convincing him to take all the paints and wipe them away and everything, and telling them they can be free and stuff like that. She's kind of planting the seeds for like a potential revolution, her saying something's coming. That's all really, really interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to build up throughout the rest of this season. But yeah, bringing the Rossum kind of thing back into it as well, because obviously they've had a big role to play in previous episodes. So always coming back to that and seeing how disgusting and smarmy and gross all the people that seem to work there are. It does make for effective kind of antagonists, even though we don't see much of them. Because it's a very complex show in that sense. You want to root for the people in the Dollhouse to kind of get away with it and succeed and sort everything out. But at the same time, what they're doing is very, unethical with these people, even if they do like give their consent and like sign contracts and stuff so this happens to them. Just the idea in itself, I think, is very immoral and unethical, and yet we're kind of rooting for them. That's the very fascinating thing. This really makes you think, this show, and I really enjoy how it does that. And this episode was a big example of that. I think this is Topher's best episode by far. I think he's just shot up my favourite characters list. I liked him enough before, but I think this really elevated him to something else. I love how they've kind of allowed him to develop like a conscience and some moral kind of codes and standings, and they're kind of talking about that. They've kind of built it up well in like this entire season so far. Ballard and Boyd have both been like kind of surprised that, oh my god, you seem to care about this. You're actually having a moral conundrum, and they kind of took the piss out of him for it, and it's kind of been setting up for this moment where he's kind of dug deeper. And it's interesting that Echo's goal has been to try and round up all the dolls and kind of say, you can be free, kind of start a revolution with them and an uprising with them. But she's also kind of affected Topher in a similar kind of way, and now he's kind of questioning it. That's fascinating to me, and I love how they were kind of exploring him developing this moral code and the consequences of that. Can he live with this big secret now about Nolan's death? And I think we see where he ends up, so I believe this is probably like the big start of that downward spiral for him, unfortunately. And that's kind of the tragedy of it, the fact that this man was broken by developing morals and a conscience, which is kind of what a good human being should have. So that's kind of fascinating. I loved everything they kind of did with him in this one. his own little investigation, working with Boyd and his little investigation as well. Just focusing on those main characters like that, and not. I feel like we did have some stuff with Nolan, and that was like a big part of the episode and everything, but it wasn't like the whole episode was kind of really dedicated to like a doll's assignment or anything. It was about the main cast that we already know and are invested in, and how these issues are affecting them. And I feel like a lot of episodes previously, while still very good, haven't done that and haven't explored that and haven't really, driven the characters forward in like their own arcs, as opposed to like a story arc kind of thing per episode. And I think this is probably the most successful example of that I can think of so far. And I just love how they've done that, and testing these relationships and these boundaries. And Topher and Boyd now have this shared secret and this shared bond, and that's going to, forever, that's going to change their relationship now, as opposed to just being like a one-off episode where they like make jabs at each other, and that's kind of the recurring joke with their relationship. Now they've got something else, and it's changed, and their character arcs have been progressed. There's going to be some tension now with Topher and Adele, and we kind of see where that ends up with them. And she's very much a kind of maternal figure for him one day, and that's fascinating to see where they are now and what she was kind of saying to him about him developing morals and trying to comfort him, saying he did the right thing, but she didn't know what he'd actually just sent Priya back to normal and sent her to Nolan. Some really, really fascinating stuff with all that, and I can't wait to see them explore it. Is Adele going to find out exactly what went down in this episode? I'm assuming so, at some point. And like the theme of lies was big in this episode. So we had obviously the lie that Topher and Priya had by the end, and Boyd as well. Boyd kind of saying to Echo, when did you learn to lie? And he ended up having to lie himself at the end of the episode, like covering up for Nolan's death. Everything like that. It's just, they added so many layers to so many characters in this episode, and I think it was just so brilliantly written and directed. There's some really great shots in this episode as well. So I don't know who directed it, but well done to you. And yeah, just the cast were great, and how they've kind of moved forward with this like potential romance with Sierra and Victor's fascinating. Definitely Topher's best stuff with him. I loved his kind of whole character journey in this episode. So excited to see more of it, hopefully. And Boyd being brought into that too. And we even had some kind of interesting stuff with Echo in the background, but I did like that the focus wasn't just on Echo in this one, which doesn't happen often, and I did really like that. As much as I like Echo, it was nice that we really let loads of different characters really breathe and explored some flashbacks and saw how Priya became Sierra, and bringing like Rossum back into it and seeing their kind of role and how the Dollhouse operates and everything. Just so well done. Really, really fascinating stuff. I adored this episode. Really, really adored it. Yeah. Topher had some great moments. Boyd had some great moments. Victor and Sierra had some great moments. Adele had some great moments. Echo had some good moments. This is the episode I've kind of been waiting for, I would say. It was a character-driven story. We had like a sort of case of the week almost, and an assignment of the week, but they made it about our main characters and how it affected them, and not just, this is a plot that echoes on, oh, something's gone wrong again, let's sort it out. This had a real like personal consequences, and that was another big thing the episode was talking about, the consequences of it, as Boyd was kind of saying throughout the episode. And that's why I think I loved it so much. This has consequences. This has irreversibly changed at least Topher, for sure, going forward. And we've seen loads of different sides and layers to the other characters, like Adele comforting Topher, Topher developing his conscience, Boyd being able to just dispose of a body like that, and he has all these connections of people who can make people disappear. So yeah, Nolan was kind of an arse and gross, and that's kind of what he really needed to be, but I think the actor still did a great job with that kind of role. And it's very, very dark, what he did to Priya, kind of how that got her into the dollhouse. It's a very disturbing story, but it was kind of, I think they alleviated a bit of that darkness by having those scenes with Priya and Topher near the end, where she actually just chose to kind of go back to being Sierra. She wasn't fighting it like she was when she was first brought in. It's kind of interesting, and it kind of makes me feel a bit more okay about the whole situation, because maybe she does want this, because Topher said, I should just let you go. He still could have done that even after everything, but she was like, just remove that last day, I don't want it. And she'd probably still want to stay close to Victor now, because this love she feels for him is genuine, even if she can't remember falling for him, which again is just So fascinating. I'm very excited to see where they go with that. But my God, what an amazing episode. I adored it. That was sublime. I loved every minute of it. Even from like that opening kind of tease with Topher covered in blood and everything, and how they kind of circled back to that. I love it when TV shows do that. I just find it really satisfying as a viewer. It's a bit of a trope, but I think they did it really well. And it wasn't like they did a frame for frame recreation of it, like, you see, this is the bit from the beginning, ha ha ha, aren't we clever? They didn't like copy it exactly shot for shot, because they know the audience is smart enough to connect that, oh yeah, that's the opening scene. So that shows a bit of respect for the audience that I really appreciated as well. But yeah, phenomenal episode. I adored it. Definitely my favourite of the season so far. One of my favourites, I think, of the show so far as well. Brilliant character moments, brilliant acting, brilliant directing, brilliant writing. I'm so excited to see all these different story elements continue on. Amazing. I loved it. Can you tell? Can you tell I loved it? Before I say it yet again, I'm going to wrap it up. So yeah, what an episode. Amazing. And until my next reaction, thanks for watching.